wonderful clash with Tyrone?
We hope so, Marty. Preparations have gone very well for us. I suppose we've got a good run in this year. Last year, probably just a 2-week turnaround to face Tyrone, so we've got a good run in. Our preparations have gone really well. I think the boys know now at this stage what it's all about, and it's about trying to go out and, I suppose, executing our own game plan on Sunday.
Relegation to Division 2 is now in the memory bank, because now you have your full team. Carl Lacey is back. It's the first time you've had the All-Ireland winning team in 8 months.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all about championship, Marty, at the end of the day, you know, and it's a game that's been on the horizon for a long time. Obviously, Tyrone have a very good league campaign under their belt, but from our own point of view, we've been building towards this day, and the boys have been working very, very hard. And as I said earlier, the preparations are going really well. And I think for me, anyway, that's the most important thing. You want a good run into it, and you want to know that the boys know what it's all about, and I feel that that is the case.
And Jimmy, how difficult is it psychologically? You brought them to such an intense level last year, to whip them up again for a new championship.
Well, I suppose that's the key word, whip them up. You know, we did drop them back down again with a view to trying to get them to lift it for championship football. But I suppose time will tell, Marty. That's the bottom line on that. For us, all you can do is base your analysis on what you see at training every night. And for us, they're as focused as ever. They're working very hard. It's a big game. Everybody knows that. There's a lot riding on the game, and we're just looking forward to it now.
Well, we're looking forward to it as well, Jimmy. And Jimmy tells me the sun is always shining here in Donegal. You can hear it on RT Radio 1. You can see it on the Sunday game. Kerry.
I think Jim's record's going to go with the day. So.
Brendan Devaney and Ryan McMenamin from Donegal and Tyrone. Thank you both for
intent, particularly maybe from Donegal's point of view, if they go on to win this.
Also to see where you are. I mean, Donegal last year were, you know, they won with plenty to spare, the All-Ireland. You know, there was scoreline respectability in a couple of the games where really that didn't reflect properly Donegal's superiority. But the thing about last year was, and this is the thing that happens to winners, when we won the All-Ireland, I can't remember the All-Ireland final. I just remember throwing myself into it unself-consciously, and you just, wherever it takes you, it takes you. You're alive in a way that you're not ever alive again during those 70 minutes. And you don't feel tired, and you don't have any distractions, and nothing gets in your way. Donegal were like that last year. They were relentless, they were focused, there were no distractions. Whether they're able to do that again this year, I mean, if they're able to do that again this year, then Jim McGuinness truly is a sort of hypnotic guru, because it is difficult, there can be no doubt about that. And the thing about Tyrone is that Tyrone have come up to the level now. They've got younger players now who properly feel part of the team. They're not waiting every time to see Brian McGuigan warming up or Brian Dooher warming up or Ryan McMenamin. You know, they know they're part of the team now, and you can see that. There's a zest and a self-confidence. Philip Jordan said during the week that he told Mickey Hart last year after the championship, whenever he was telling him, I'm not playing anymore, he said, you need a new team, forget about the past. So he's done that. Their fitness level's up to the level now. I mean, their training has apparently been ferocious in the new Garvaghey Centre, and nothing has been left to chance. You saw it against Dublin, and of course they've got Niall Morgan now, who scored 20 points in the league, and only Michael Murphy of the Donegal players scored more than 20 points in the league. So the gap has been narrowed.
All right, let's go back to Ger Canning in Ballyboffey. Hopefully, Ger.
Donegal manager Jim McGuinness named an unchanged team from last September for the start of this year's championship. However, there were nagging doubts about the fitness of Carol Lacey and Mark McHugh, and in the event neither is able to start. So Declan Walsh will come in at the back and David Walsh will come in the half-forward line. Their visitors Tyrone give championship debuts to goalkeeper Niall Morgan and corner forward Conor McAlliskey. Sean Kavanagh missed last year's campaign with a distressing shoulder problem, while Stephen O'Neill couldn't play in the league final because of an ankle injury. Both men are back.
Defence, they'll leave Murphy and McFadden up front, and they'll hope to be able to pinch enough scores, probably in a low-scoring game. And Jimmy McGuinness, though, I have to laugh. Jimmy saying he hoped to God it's a good game. Well, of course, the only thing that he wants to see, he couldn't care less what sort of a game it is. Once Donegal win the match.
It's an illustration of irony for anyone who's unsure of its meaning.
Yeah, well, it will be a fascinating struggle, even though I don't think it'll be much of a football match. And that's why I'd say every football supporter in the country, or every football fan, will tune in. They know it's not going to be an open game of football. They know it's going to be a bit of a dog of a match, but yet it'll be no less enthralling for that.
And yet a player
for Tyrone and for Matty Donnelly to build the first attack. Intercepted. Well taken away here by Ryan Bradley. Man of the match when the teams met in the championship last year in Clonus. He's been held. Did such a magnificent season last year from St Michael's. 30 years of age now. Giving himself time to compose himself. Every opportunity is vital, and he has taken the first one. Donegal lead.
3 is going to be critical.
So on their home patch, Donegal shoot into the lead. This is taken down here by Martin Penrose. Gets away quickly. David Walsh is after him. Chips it in beautifully. Neatly taken. McAllister's inside and he puts it over and the sides are level. Conor McAllister in his first championship game gets his first point. And it's a point apiece. Good start to the match.
Yeah, beautiful pass from Penrose. Really just inviting him to come on, and McAllister certainly did that. Just turned around, flicked it over the bar. Lovely score.
Well, this is the player, of course, who had a wonderful... Hart always does that. Now Donegal's chance to build again. Declan Walsh now is called in late into the team because of the injury to Carol. Donegal back in front again. Easy one from 20 metres out. The All-Ireland champions lead. He didn't buy, but Clark was trying to guide him on there. Morgan kicks and he's put it away to the left-hand side. So the first one has been missed.
But poor form, I would have said, from the Donegal defender Anthony Thompson. That's the one thing Jim McGuinness was at, no descent penalty.
And it's more or less the same distance and angle for Colin McFadden that he pointed his first attempt. That was the one that gave Donegal the lead. The crowd start to cheer. Well, they might. He's got another. Much because last year Donegal very nearly got relegated also and only saved themselves on the last day. Here's McGlynn starting from a deep position. Leo McClune on as far as Gallagher. Now once again Frankie McGlynn. Is that a hamstring problem? No indication of difficulty there for him as he gets us forward as far as Paddy McBrearty. McBrearty cuts through 3 defenders, lays it off to Thompson, back as far as Walsh and straight between the posts. David Walsh, first of the day for him, and it's 4-1, and it started very, very smartly indeed for the All-Ireland and Ulster champions Donegal.
Yeah, lovely piece of work. Really, really excellent for McBrearty here. Look the way he comes around the back, just loops it here.
Well, as Donegal start their next attack, there's been a big result in the Connacht Championship. London have beaten Sligo by 112 to 14 points. I remember on our first Sunday game programme, I think one of the again, 40 metres out, having a go, looking to send this one over the bar. And the umpires had a good look at it and finally decide. In as far as Peter Hart, missed the league final. Back here as far as Mark Donnelly. Diagonally across here to try and open up the Donegal defence. In as far as Stephen O'Neill, grounded immediately. There against Neil McGee, and they had a fair old set 2 in the league match in Clonus. Ended up wrestling on the ground, and the referee, same referee as today, Joe McQuillan, gave them both yellow cards on a day when he issued 30.
Still got it and won the free.
And Sean Kavanagh will convert and put it over, and it's his first point from a free out from the start because of injury. Mind you, I think they possibly could participate if needed at some stage in the second half. Right now it's Colin McFadden who have the chance. Niall Morgan happy to see if he can make it 4-3. Again, Donegal are standing the minimum distance away from him, and Tyrone are arguing the point to the referee. Conor Gormley saying, look, they're not back far enough, referee. Try to put the goalkeeper off. He kicks it and he lands it. 1 out of 2 for Niall Morgan, but that one will do the confidence an immense amount of good. It's his first ever point in championship football. Used to be a soccer player with Dungannon Swifts, and now he is rousing the crowd, but it's the Donegal fans, I think, who are feeling most annoyed with him for the arrogance of that. But it was a wonderful kick in awful conditions. Most prudent place to play this. Opts to play it in as far as Rory Kavanagh. There's a Tyrone player on the ground needing attention. That's Sean Kavanagh. Play continues as Jim McGuinness and Rory Gallagher look on. That's the injured player being attended to by Michael Hart, son of Mickey. Meanwhile, McFadden kicks and kicks it brilliantly and kicks it over the bar and gets another. 3 for the day for McFadden, and that's the first to come from play, and he's made it 5 points to 3. And the Donegal fans, well, they are getting saturated out there on the terraces, but they're enjoying it. They're looking for 3 wins on the trot. They won by 3 points 2 years ago. It was down to 2 points last year. They're ahead by 2 now after 20 minutes. They go short. Oof. That was Declan Walsh, who couldn't retain possession for Donegal, and that's crucial. They can't afford to make handling errors like that, even in the greasy conditions. And as that ball is kicked down towards Stephen O'Neill by Joe McMahon, it's O'Neill who takes it on. What a shot to take on! Only Stephen O'Neill can do that. That's classic O'Neill. We've seen him do it in Croke Park. And here he does it in the Ulster Championship first round match and puts one between them. He turned this way, then cut in and back outside Paddy McGrath, who was powerless to stop him. The angle was almost impossible, but what about that? Great score. McAlliskey, he may have done so, not 100% sure. Anthony Thompson. I think the card has been given to McAlliskey, number 15 for Tyrone. So that's the first yellow card of the match. Plenty of hard hitting. Bradley gets it back here as far as Paddy McGrath. Very mobile, fleet-footed. McAlliskey's after him. Back it comes again here once again to Neil Gallagher, the Glen Swilly man, towards Michael Murphy. Got 1 point from a freeze, 25 metres out from the target. Has a go from an angle and kicks it wide. The shoulder exactly flush on the shoulder. Justin McMahon takes it in as far as Colm Kavanagh. Kavanagh looks around him. Justin once again about to be challenged. Dishes it off as far as Matty Donnelly. Donnelly into the corner here towards Peter Hart. It's tight. It's Matty Donnelly again. Donnelly striking it over the bar. Good point by Matty Donnelly. Took a lot of steps. 5-all, however. Matty Donnelly taking this return pass here, shouldered strongly, but he's really heftily.
Beautifully poised. No team can get away from the other. 5 each.
Level for the second time. Once again, it's Mark Donnelly. Peter Hart. Donegal had led at one stage 3-1, but Tyrone have come back. Back now as far as Sean Kavanagh. Beautifully across here towards his younger brother Colm. Trying to dart in from that left-hand side, kicking from a distance beyond Anthony Thompson. And another beauty. It's Tyrone who lead, and Colm Kavanagh has got this one, and it's 6 points to 5. What a comeback. Wanted to play on days like this. So here he is, trying a second one. Moving, travelling, but into the goalkeeper's hands this time. It's 1 out of 3.
Last few weeks, fellas trotting out to take the freeze.
Thompson's about to take this free kick, and he's been given an extra 13 metres because Tyrone weren't retreating quickly enough, and Michael Murphy decides to kick it along from midfield. Huge one all the way up here. McFadden's in, and McFadden scored. No.
Brilliant, fantastic knockdown. McGrearty, you'll see it in a second.
32 minutes are gone. Colm McFadden's 8th ever championship goal, and this is 46th championship match. Knocked down for him here.
Brilliant.
McBrearty, and onto it came McFadden, as you say. Superbly taken. Lovely combined play, and there was nothing Cathal McCarron could do about it. That was a great finish. And now team now ahead by 2. 2 minutes to go to half time. From 55 metres, it hangs in the air. He curls it around beautifully, and he puts it between the posts and over. 2-pointed freeze by the young man from Glen Swilly, whose dad Michael was here in an official capacity, one of the people who make this ground such a popular one to come. Wins it. Now it's asking questions of Tyrone. Played out here as far as Matty Donnelly, and Donnelly has landed another beauty. 2 points for the UUJ student from Trillick, and now it's 1 6 to 7 points. Well, there's been a lot of good quality in this match, in this first half. There was so much talk about negativity in the build-up.
Enjoying this game, I think, Colin, in fairness. Advantage Donegal at the moment, but you wouldn't like to call this one. At least I wouldn't.
There's not much in it, and it's tight, intense. It doesn't seem to have the atmosphere we expected. Maybe the rain has dampened things a bit, and the score is a bit higher than I would have expected. I think we've had some fantastic points from play, particularly by Tyrone. But I was surprised. Tyrone were a bit indisciplined early on in the game and gave away a few easy frees and let Donegal off on a lead of 2 or 3 points, which has ebbed and flowed ever since. But it's an enthralling contest, but not as physical and maybe not as defensive as I expected it to be.
And that's no harm.
Donegal are the more relaxed team. You know, Tyrone, too frantic. 3 times they've kicked the ball into the keeper's hands. 5 wides. Saying beforehand, Donegal are focused, reliable, economical. 1 wide in 35 minutes. A very tough championship football. Both these teams know exactly what each other's doing, and that's the difference at the moment. Donegal are more settled, they're more relaxed. I mean, the chances are being taken without fuss. They don't need many chances. They're 2 points up now. 2 points against Donegal is like 5 points against another team. Tyrone must relax. You know, because Tyrone are well in this game. Tyrone have worked out how to play against Donegal. Colm's absolutely right, but for 3 rash fouls early on, you know, Tyrone would be ahead in this game. And I'll tell you a big difference between them two, which sums up the point that I'm making about Donegal being always absolutely focused, even if they're not at the pitch that they've been at last year so far. But they're a second-half team, don't forget.
Yes.
The goal chance that Matty Donnelly got, I mean, if that was any of the Donegal inside forwards, they would have been going for goals and nothing else. Matty Donnelly put it over the bar. It would have put Tyrone 2 points up. It was a crucial moment to get a goal chance against Donegal in championship football. Donegal get their goal chance, you know that it's only going one place.
We'll come back to both of those incidents in a moment, Colin, but first of all, let's go back again on the
Gap inside, beautifully into Mark Donnelly. Down he goes. The referee a call to make, decides to play on. They do, and it's helter-skelter stuff in there. Look at the number of Donegal bodies back as Penrose gets it back once again, recycles it, and it's put over the bar. And it is Justy McMahon who puts it over.
Yeah, great finish to get the point, but I think there was a big shout for a penalty, and we might get a chance to see it again. I thought the referee was actually blindsided. He was about to blow it for the penalty. We're going to see it here. Penrose does really, really well. And just inside here, there, looked like a penalty to me, Ger.
Certainly.
But I think if we're...
We'll be seeing him very shortly. Now Morgan, centre of attention. Can he put it over from here? Connects well. He's put it wide. It's 1 out of 4. So it's one of those days. Peter Hart fisting it towards Cathal McCarron. Had to be swift about his business that time. Running into traffic there is Mark Donnelly. There's a roadblock presented, but he manages to sneak through it somehow. And Peter Hart's there to help him on his shoulder. Picking it up as Sean Kavanagh, swinging it in and swinging it over the bar. Sean Kavanagh playing in his 11th championship season.
We're not happy about this, Ger. It looked like a tail on it.
Well, he's celebrating, but the referee's questioning. One umpire did indicate to the other. He said, "You put up the flag." The man was about to do so.
Donegal were very unhappy from the moment it was fired, but this umpire on the near side was adamant to went over. I was watching him very closely. This is going to be allowed.
Is it going to be allowed? Is it not? We need Hawkeye. We'll have it next week in Croke Park. It's put over the bar. Sean Kavanagh's second point awarded. This one coming from play. And so it's level for the 3rd time. Donegal 1-6, Tyrone 9 points. It was tight, I know, but the man on the right-hand side, as we're looking at it here, was convinced it was over.
That looked well over to me, at least by a metre.
And back come Tyrone again. Stephen O'Neill, huge one in towards Sean Kavanagh, who's got a full forward. In there, being marked by Evan McGee so far. And again, the referees telling the Donegal players, Michael Murphy and Rory Kavanagh, back the requisite distance. And the 22-year-old from Eden Dork is trying his luck again. Up into the air, but into the crowd and wide, badly wide. It worked in Croke Park. It's not working in Ballybofey. The crowd did it. So they're making progress. Meanwhile, stalemate here in Ballybofey, but highly intriguing match. Two of the heavyweights of the Football Championship season in action. First round of the Ulster Championship, and here comes Paddy McBrearty. Jeremy Carlin's wearing their 36 after him. In along the baseline, it's in! Amazingly, Ross Werrity, only about a minute on the park. And it's a second Donegal goal, 2-6 to 9 points, they lead. Paddy McBrearty did so much of the spade work. 49 minutes in, Ross Werrity arrives on the field and gets his first championship goal. But look at the pace and the penetrating skills of McBrearty. Nobody able to catch him. And Ross Werrity, bang on cue, puts it in the back of Niall Morgan's net. Beaten for the second time. Advantage Donegal, the home team here in Ballybofey. Forward towards McFadden once again. He's lost his footing, and Cathal McCarran and Tyrone. Man is going for his third Ulster Championship winners medal this year, you know, before he reaches his 21st birthday. Some achievement. Rory Kavanagh, back in again it comes. McBrearty fisting, and McBrearty puts it over the bar. Well, he deserves that one. It's his first point of the match, but what a contribution he has put in this afternoon. Remember 2 years ago when he was sprung from the minors on the very day they were playing here against Antrim in a wretched game, but he came on, one of the stars. Tyrone again, and Michael Murphy this time tormenting that Tyrone defence, and Murphy's put over his third point, the first to come from play, and the fans now believe that this team is going to get through this major test against the former Ulster champions. And it's 2-8 down to Donegal. It's 9 points for Tyrone.
Yeah, that looks like the push for home. You'd have to say that Murphy has cut across there and got the point. It really kind of, once he makes it...
Jump into the air was Joe McMahon. Justin on the ground. Free kick to Tyrone, which Peter Hart is thinking about taking. And then Sean Kavanagh and Justin McMahon rather getting into some hot water, and the referee with Donegal players all around him. Here's what was happening in this one.
Just in a second there, now coming up there.
Yeah.
I think that's no big deal, I would have thought. A yellow card perhaps.
Well, Ross Werrity had his legs caught initially, and then he kicked back, as it were, trying to release himself. There was a little bit more than that in it, but hardly deserved a red card.
Yeah, I don't think so. And Werrity was holding on to his leg.
City now trying to break the tackle. Crawley's after it as well. They're trying to make their way through, and the referee, even though the ball ends up on the back of the opportunity here. Sean Kavanagh fisting it across here, collected by Michael Murphy. They're virtually on his own goal line. Back out as far as Mark McHugh. Hand pass to safety out as far as Carol Lacey. Back in here once again as far as Rory Kavanagh. Dragged down unceremoniously by Colm Kavanagh. He was involved in a foul a little while ago. Meanwhile, there's another player down near the goal area. The referee has the notebook out. There's a Donegal player on the ground just yards from the end line. Colm Kavanagh's in trouble here.
Yeah, absolutely. And the
that
umpire
was quite reckless. Second yellow card, he's got off. Red carded in the 62nd minute. Tyrone behind. Foul to give away. Not something you'd expect from a player who's been in the championship playing for Tyrone since 2004. Under pressure once again are the Tyrone backs. Once again it's Colm McFadden holding it up now. Lovely transfer to his partner in crime, Michael Murphy. Back it comes to Rory Kavanagh. For a moment you thought he was going to shoot for a goal. He's gone for a point instead, which is the wisest course of action. Rory Kavanagh's first. And now it is 2-0. On as far as Matty Donnelly. Tyrone looking for a score. High up into the air there. It comes down. Hart blocked somehow by Mark McHugh. Amazingly, got his body in the way. Not sure he knew much about it. That could have been buried in the back of Paul Durkin's net, but wasn't. And comes back out here as far as Michael Murphy again. In trouble there is Neil McGee. But it's Tyrone who are really in trouble. McElhenney challenges, takes it forward, holds. torments once again, lays it off to McBrearty, who finishes with a certain degree of polish that belies his very tender years. A second for Paddy McBrearty.
He's been outstanding, hasn't he, Ger? He really has.
He's been terrific, but it was McElhenney who showed loads of composure. Donnelly. Out it comes once again. They carry it forward once again with great intent. McElhenney bounces, challenged, again tries to win it. Stephen O'Leary tried to get it. It was McCarran eventually who took it. Of them will be disappointed. And that's an elbow into the back, and that's going to be a free in. It was 1-6 to 7 points at half time, remember. So a Donegal team that have been managing to keep their opponents to a very small margin of scores in most games. The average last year they conceded was 13, only 9 so far today. That's admirable. It's going to be Sean Kavanagh who'll kick this one. So many bodies between the ball and the goal at this stage. Not too many options for him. We're in the 3rd minute of added time. He had a go, comes back out. Once again, a shot, and that one's tipped over the bar. Really good effort by Penrose, and he was the player, of course, who got the goal attempt at the very end. Then it was a tight affair. Today, in the second half, it's Jim McGuinness and his side who have prevailed. Well, they can celebrate. They put everything they had into winning this match. Tyrone 12 wides to Donegal's 4. That was
Well, the thing about Donegal is this: they've perfected the art of winning football. You know, there are large periods of a game where they can hold it without very much happening, and you're thinking, well, I mean, there's not much between the teams. That was a heavy defeat for Tyrone. I thought, you know, by half-time that the game was over in essence, unless something really exceptional happened. And the problem, I think, with putting so much faith in your goalkeeper to kick 60-metre frees is, one, it's difficult to kick 50, 60-metre frees, and two, whenever you've got a very conspicuous talisman like that, if he starts to malfunction, then a severe lack of confidence can spread through the team. I mean, Donegal were very relaxed, economical as always, ruthless. And, I mean, as I said, I think in the very first championship programme this year, the question is, you know, is there anyone there? Is there anyone there who can deal with what they bring? And, I mean, the question really now is, do the Dubs have sufficient to deal with that? I mean, it's difficult to think of how anyone can deal with the way that they play and what they present to you, you know. And now Lacey's going to get fit, McHugh's going to be fit. I mean, players are going to be coming back now. Frank McGlynn's going to be fit. So
well, let's pick up on that point and ask Colin about that. Is there anybody that can deal with them, Colin? Because one thing that was noticeable about that match, as it went on, they were gradually squeezing the life out of Tyrone.
Yeah, there's only 2 or 3 that might beat them, and that's probably Dublin, possibly Kerry. And you know, you run out of contenders pretty quickly if you want to add in Mayo, Cork. You know, we said at the start of the year. But I think what the problem with Tyrone was that they had a great period either side of half-time, and with whatever 10 minutes gone in the second half, after dominating maybe for 20 or 25 minutes, and they still weren't in front. So it must have been soul-destroying for them to dominate possession, to have your goalkeeper kicking so many wides, as Joe said, and the lift that it gave the Donegal crowd, as well as the Donegal players, and you could see the Tyrone players shrinking into their boots. And then, of course, once Huerty got the goal, really the game was over at that stage. What we really did was play it out 20 minutes just for the sake of time. But Tyrone still have a future. They'll be still in the quarter-final.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
For us, it's a first round of the championship victory, which is obviously very special in its own right, but it just gives us the opportunity now to go to the semi-final of our own province, something we wanted to do. And, you know, please God, we can try and lift the intensity level over the next 4 weeks again and get our main players back fully fit.
Donegal still have the appetite of last year. They wonder, would Jim McGuinness going to Celtic affect him? That was a performance of real winners.
That was a very emphatic, very comprehensive, very well-deserved victory. And it was based on 3 things. One, you know, they played with the composure and confidence that comes with being All-Ireland champions, as opposed to Tyrone, who, when the pressure came on, they became ill-disciplined and whatever like that. Like when Donegal were struggling at spells, particularly in the first half, they never lost that composure, they never lacked that confidence. That's number one. Second reason they won the game was that tactically they set up very well. They set up brilliantly defensively. They blocked that middle, which meant that it was very difficult for Tyrone's runners to come through the middle. And it's also a problem for Tyrone because Tyrone don't have target men, so they couldn't kick the ball over them. So tactically, Jimmy McGuinness won hands down. And three, the third thing that favoured them today, Ballybuffet is a tight pitch. Wet conditions. In a tight pitch and in wet conditions, the physically stronger team, all things being equal, will win out. And Donegal are far more physically stronger than Tyrone. Now, I genuinely believe Donegal would have won today. I think we read too much into Tyrone during the league. Remember, they were the only county, Mickey Hart was what they were wearing underneath their jerseys. They were wearing a GPS system vest, which measures intensity and work rate and speed. Now, that's common sense gone out the window, because you're playing in wet conditions, so that means you have a wet, heavy jersey. Then that means this GPS bra-like garment is getting heavier.
The lads designed for that. That's
the lads would have worn it. It doesn't make sense.
No,
it doesn't make sense.
It's modern day football. It's modern day football.
Take your eye off the ball.
No, it's modern day football. No, it's modern day football. Just
gone wrong.
Being brought into science. You've got sports science. You've got sports science.
You do it.
You do.
Yeah, but you know when you do it in training. You do it in pre-season. You don't do it in the middle of your most important game. You don't do it in the middle of your most important
it's an indication.
The game has moved on to huge time, they're saying.
It's indication to see. Yeah, but it's indication to see if fellas are working hard enough.
Find them.
OK, well, look, let's get back to analysis, apart from the clothing. And Kieran, you've been looking at how Donegal stopped
the biggest question mark there is, and we questioned them last week about their hunger and their desire, and they answered that in spades today. And the disadvantage to Tyrone playing in the league semi-final was Jimmy McGuinness was able to analyse and detail them very much so over the closing stage of the league. He put his two soldiers out today, the two McGee brothers. Neil McGee picked up O'Neill and Aim McGee picked up Kavanagh. They stuck to them.